You have likely felt a subtle vibration in the very marrow of your bones lately, a quiet hum that precedes a massive shift. It feels like the way the forest grows silent right before the first light of dawn breaks over the highest, oldest branches. You have spent so many years feeling like a transplant in a garden that was never meant to hold your specific kind of beauty. Your soul has been whispering the coordinates of this specific moment for a long time, even when your mind was too tired to listen. This isn't about a lucky break or a random turn of the wheel. It is the inevitable blossoming of seeds you planted in tears. You are sensing the end of a very long, very dry winter that seemed like it would never release its icy grip on you. There is a restlessness in your spirit that isn't anxiety, but rather the internal stretching of roots that are finally finding deeper, richer soil. You might feel a strange urge to clear out the old, to simplify your space, or to spend more time in the stillness. This is your internal landscape preparing for the rain of provision that has been gathering in the clouds far above your head for so long. You have been the one standing on the outside, watching others thrive while you navigated a persistent, heavy fog. You have often wondered why your path felt so much steeper and why the terrain seemed so much more unforgiving than everyone else's. That steepness was not a punishment, my friend. It was the necessary resistance to build the strength of a truly ancient, towering tree. You are beginning to realize that the not belonging you felt was actually a divine protection, keeping you separate for a unique purpose. The silent call you are hearing right now is the universe acknowledging that your foundation is finally strong enough to hold the weight. It is a gentle beckoning to look up from the dirt and realize that the canopy of your life is about to expand. Take a deep, slow breath with me right now, feeling the air move all the way down into the base of your spine. Imagine your feet are like deep roots, pushing through the cold surface and finding the warmth of the earth's hidden, golden center. As you breathe out, release the tension in your shoulders that has come from years of bracing yourself against the wind. You are safe here, in this conversation, and you are finally being heard by the forces that orchestrate the tides and the stars. The silence is no longer empty. It is pregnant with the arrival of something that will change the color of your entire reality. You are not crazy for feeling this shift, and you are certainly not wrong for finally allowing yourself to hope for the sun. The call is getting louder, not in volume, but in the way it resonates with the deepest truth of who you are. Look closely at the patterns in your life recently, because the world is trying to tell you that the harvest is finally here. Perhaps you have been seeing the same numbers, or maybe you have been having vivid dreams of overflowing water and lush, green landscapes. Maybe strangers have been looking at you with a new kind of recognition, or doors that were bolted shut are suddenly clicking open. These are not coincidences. They are the sap of your destiny rising up through the bark to nourish the newest growth. You might find yourself losing interest in the petty dramas or the small-minded worries that used to consume your daily mental energy. Your inner ancient tree is shedding the leaves of the past because it knows that a new season of abundance requires fresh energy. Notice how the wound of not belonging is starting to feel less like a sharp pain and more like a distant, faded memory. You are beginning to see that your uniqueness was never a flaw, but the very reason you have been selected for this increase. One hidden sign is a sudden, inexplicable sense of peace in the middle of circumstances that used to make you feel panicked. You are no longer reacting to the world from a place of lack, but acting from a place of quiet, internal enoughness. Another sign is the way your conversations are changing, as you find yourself speaking with more authority and a deeper, softer kindness. You are starting to attract people who see your value without you having to perform. explain, or diminish yourself to fit in. Even your physical body might feel different, as if a heavy cloak of ancestral weight is finally being lifted off your chest. You are noticing that the self-protection you once used, the walls you built, is starting to crumble because you no longer need them. You have realized that self-protection often dressed itself up as wisdom, but it was really just a way to stay small and safe. Now, you are seeing that true wisdom is the courage to stand tall in the open field, ready to receive the light. Let's try a small micro-practice place. One hand on your heart and the other on your belly. Feeling the rhythm of life. Say to yourself, I am no longer hidden. I am seen. I am supported. And I am ready for the overflow. Feel the truth of those words vibrating in your chest, breaking up the old calcified beliefs that told you to stay poor. You are noticing that even your hidden agreement with delay is dissolving the part of you that thought you weren't ready yet. You are realizing that ready is not a feeling, but a decision to stop arguing with the abundance that is already yours. The hidden signs are everywhere, from the way the light hits the floor to the unexpected kindness of a passing stranger. Before the massive oak can reach for the heavens, it must endure the crushing weight of the dark, cold earth for years. You have spent a long time in that darkness, feeling as though you were buried alive rather than planted for a future glory. Your dark night was characterized by the piercing ache of never quite fitting into the world around you. Even with family, you felt like an outsider in your own life, a chosen one who felt more like a forsaken one in the shadows. There were nights when the scarcity wasn't just in your bank account, but in your very spirit, leaving you feeling hollow and dry. You watched others gather fruit while you were still struggling to find enough water to keep your few leaves from turning brown. The wound of not belonging was a constant companion, whispering that you were somehow defective or that the universe had forgotten you. You might have even felt a creative suppression, as if the music inside you was being muffled by the heavy blankets of survival. Every time you tried to rise, it felt like a storm would come and break your branches, leaving you scarred and weary. But look at those scars. Now they are the growth rings of your character, proving that you survived what would have broken others. You have endured the refiner's fire, not to destroy you, but to burn away the partial faith that only believed for crumbs. You realized that partial faith produces partial manifestation, and you were settling for just enough to keep the lights on in your soul. The darkness taught you that you don't need the approval of the forest to be a part of the forest's ancient, living story. It stripped away the ego need to belong to them so that you could finally learn how to belong truly and deeply to yourself. In that lonely soil, you developed a root system that is now capable of sustaining a level of wealth most could never handle. If you hadn't walked through the valley of not enough, you would never have the humility to steward the more than enough. Let's do a gentle ritual. Imagine you are holding a dry, brown leaf that represents your oldest, deepest pain of being an outsider. Hold it in your mind's eye. Thank it for the lessons it taught you about resilience. And then, watch it crumble into dust. That dust is now becoming the very fertilizer for the sudden wealth that is currently moving toward your life, like a rising tide. Your dark night is ending not because you fought the darkness, but because you finally learned how to be your own light. The sun is peeking over the horizon now, and the shadows are losing their power to define who you are or what you deserve. The night was long, but it has carved out a capacity for joy and gratitude in you that will never be exhausted. The awakening is the moment the sap begins to boil with the heat of the morning sun, sending life to every sleeping bud. It is the realization that the wealth coming your way is not a reward for being good, but a tool for being you. You are waking up to the fact that poverty was never a virtue, and that lack was a cage you finally outgrew. You are beginning to see that you were never broken. You were simply under construction, and the scaffolding is finally coming down today. An aha moment is hitting you. You realize that self-doubt was just a clever mask for your fear of being truly, powerfully seen. You see that you have had a hidden agreement with struggle, thinking that if you suffered enough, you would eventually earn your peace. But the awakening tells you that peace is the foundation, not the prize, and you are allowed to be wealthy and still holy. You are realizing that your creative suppression was actually a creative incubation, and your ideas are now ready to be birthed into form. The wealth that is approaching is attracted to this new version of you, the one who no longer begs for a seat at the table. You are building your own table now, and you are inviting the marginalized, the dreamers, and the unbelonged to sit with you there. This awakening is shifting your identity fragmentation into a solid, singular, oak-like presence that cannot be moved by the opinions of others. You no longer need to be everything to everyone, because you are finally everything to yourself and to the divine source of life. Let's take a moment for a micro-practice stand-up if you can, or sit very tall, and imagine a golden thread. This thread runs from the crown of your head all the way up into the infinite heart of the celestial, eternal cosmos. Feel yourself being pulled up into your full height, claiming the space that has always belonged to you in this physical world. You are shedding the identity of the victim and stepping into the identity of the steward, which is a much more powerful place. The awakening is showing you that money is simply stored energy, and you are finally ready to direct that energy toward healing. You are no longer afraid of the responsibility of wealth, because you realize that your character is stronger than any currency on earth. The wound of not belonging is being healed by the realization that you belong to the whole, not just to a small, judgmental tribe. You are a citizen of the kingdom of abundance, and your passport is your authenticity and your deep, loving heart. The dawn is fully here now, and the world looks different because you are looking at it with eyes that are finally wide open. Everything you once thought was a delay was actually a divine calibration, ensuring that your breakthrough wouldn't crush your spirit. Being chosen does not mean you are better than anyone else. It means you have been enlarged to carry a heavier weight of love. It means that your life is no longer just your own. It is a vessel for the provision that needs to reach the world. An ancient tree doesn't keep all the shade or all the fruit for itself. Its very existence supports an entire, thriving ecosystem. You have been chosen for this wealth because the divine knows you will not use it to build walls, but to build bridges. You are a chosen one because you have the marrow of integrity required to hold millions without losing the heart of a servant. The wealth coming to you is a divine turnaround, designed to show the world what happens when a healed heart has resources. Being chosen means you have passed the test of scarcity without turning bitter, and the test of silence without losing your faith. You are now being invited to the test of abundance, which requires even more discernment and even more grounded stillness. An aha reframe for you. Your pain was not a hole you fell into. It was a well you were digging for others. The deeper the well of your past suffering, the more living water of provision you can now hold for those who are thirsty. Being chosen means your sudden wealth will be used to restore the dignity of those who have been forgotten by the systems of man. You are a spiritual architect, and the finances are the bricks and mortar for the sanctuaries of peace you are destined to create. It means your ancestral rings are being rewritten. The poverty cycles of your bloodline stop with your yes to this new level. You are the breakthrough that your ancestors prayed for while they were working in the fields of not enough for centuries. Take a deep breath and feel the weight of that sacred honor. You are the one who is changing the wealth DNA of your entire family. Let's do a short micro practice. Visualize your family tree behind you, extending back through hundreds of years of struggle and quiet hope. See yourself turning around and handing a golden fruit to each of them, acknowledging that their sacred toil made your sacred harvest possible. Now, turn back toward the future and see the ripples of your generosity touching people you will never even meet in this lifetime. This is what being chosen truly means. It is the responsibility of the blessed to become a blessing that never runs dry. You are no longer a consumer of life. You are a creator and a provider, an ancient tree that gives life to the whole forest. Your wealth will be soft. Wealth, it will be kind. It will be quiet. And it will be used to soothe the ache of the world. You are ready for this because you no longer need the wealth to be someone. You already are someone in the eyes of the divine. As you step into this season of sudden increase, your path must be paved with practical wisdom and spiritual grounding. The first step forward is to remain deeply rooted in the simple practices that kept you sane when you had absolutely nothing at all. Do not let the noise of success drown out the whisper of the Spirit that guided you through the dark night of your soul. One practical step: keep a gratitude journal specifically for the small miracles that happen alongside the big financial shifts you see. This keeps your internal compass pointed toward source rather than toward the resources themselves, which can be a very dangerous distraction. Another step is to move slowly with your new provision. There is no rush to show the world that you have finally made it. True abundance doesn't need to scream. It radiates a quiet power that is felt by everyone who comes into your personal presence. An aha reframe. Wealth is not a change in destination. It is an upgrade in the vehicle you use to serve your purpose. You are still going the same way toward love, but now you have the fuel to reach more people and travel much further than before. Be mindful of the wound of not belonging, trying to resurface as imposter syndrome, or the fear that the money will vanish. When those thoughts come, ground your feet, touch your heart, and remind yourself the soil of the universe is infinite. You are not taking from anyone else. You are receiving from the eternal flow that has no beginning and no end. Create a sanctuary space in your home, no matter how small, where you can go to be still and remember your core truth. Use this space to sift through the opportunities that will soon be knocking at your door, looking for the ones that feel like peace. If an opportunity glitters but makes your stomach feel tight, it is not from the source of your blessing and should be ignored. Trust your gut intuition more than you trust market trends or the advice of people who don't know your spiritual roots. Another micro practice every morning, before looking at your phone or your bank account. Ask the divine, who can I be a bridge for today? This simple question ensures that your wealth stays fluid and life-giving, rather than stagnant and soul-hardening. Your path forward is one of elegant stewardship, where you balance personal comfort with radical generosity in a way that feels sustainable. You are learning to say yes to the best and no to the good, protecting the energy required to fulfill your high calling. The road is wide, the sun is high, and you have all the provision you need to walk it with dignity and grace. You are no longer searching for your path. You are building it with every faithful decision and every generous act you perform. My dear friend, as we come to the end of this particular heart-to-heart, I want you to look at your reflection with new eyes. You have survived the trench of lack and the fires of rejection, and you have emerged with a spirit that is pure gold. The wealth that is coming to you is simply the physical manifestation of the value that has been growing inside you for decades. Do not be afraid of the greatness that is now demanding to be seen. You were born for this change, And for this impact, remember that you belong to the lineage of the awakened, those who use power to empower and riches to enrich the collective soul. The wound of not belonging was only there to ensure that when you became powerful, you would never forget the lowly. It was the sacred ache that kept your heart soft enough to be trusted with the key to the treasury of the divine. You are an ancient tree in a new world, and your leaves are for the healing of the nations and the comfort of the broken. Stay humble, stay hungry for truth, and stay deeply connected to the still, small voice that has never once lied to you. The sudden wealth is not the destination. It is the wind in your sails as you head toward your true north of selfless service. You are loved beyond measure, supported beyond sight, and chosen beyond any doubt you could ever possibly harbor in your mind. Go forth into this new season with your head high and your hands open, ready to receive and ready to give. The dawn is no longer unfolding, it is fully realized, and you are standing in the light of your divine destiny. As we part ways for now, I want to leave you with one simple invitation to anchor this shift into your physical reality today. Please take a moment to look into a mirror. Look deeply into your own eyes and say out loud, "I am worthy of the abundance that is seeking me." This one simple act of self-recognition will seal the hidden agreement with your new life and open the floodgates of your provision. You have waited long enough. The ancient cycles have turned, and the harvest is finally, beautifully, and suddenly yours to hold. I am so proud of the tree you have become, and I cannot wait to see the forest you will grow with the seeds of your success. Be at peace, chosen one, for the universe has signed your name to the ledger of abundance, and it can never be erased. The storms are over, the soil is rich, and your golden season has officially begun with this very last breath. Walk in power, walk in love, and walk in the quiet confidence of someone who knows they are home at last. Goodbye for now, my dear friend. Your new story is being written in the stars and in the earth at this very moment.